This week I read an article about rich people transforming their homes and installing these super high-tech wellness yoga zen rooms. And at first I felt triggered and of course judgmental because this trend is accessible only to a very small portion of people and it felt unnecessary. But then I did some reflection and I went on this rabbit hole that completely changed the way I see our environments. Caring about our spaces, being intentional about it, does make our world a better place for us humans and animals. You are watching Good News Show. This made my week, and today I will be sharing inspiring solutions. I will tell you more about wellness spaces, about trauma-informed design, and a zoo that has a very different way of walking and seeing, watching animals. Stay tuned to reconnect with your faith in humanity, and let's get into it. After the pandemic, I think many of us changed the way we see and the way we use our homes and what we do with our spaces. I'm sure that many of you turned your either storage rooms or your bedrooms into your offices. We changed the way we use our living rooms. Now it's not just a space for relaxation, but also aesthetic background for content creation and those Zoom meetings, am I right? Many turned their garages into their gyms. And now designers are seeing this trend that more and more people are turning their spaces into these wellness rooms. But today, it's not just an empty room with some meditation pillows. No. These are very high-tech, very cool rooms with special dim light, with sound systems that allows people to sound bathe and feel like they're in these luxurious spas. There are gongs and special mattresses that change temperatures and they feel super comfy. There are, of course, meditation pillows. The design sometimes can feel like the room is like a cocoon or a person is in a forest or on the beach. So right now people are being super creative and they're taking things to the next level. At first, like I said, I was very judgmental, but then I did some reflection and looked in the mirror and then I asked myself, like, isn't it wonderful that more and more people are actually taking their emotional and mental health seriously? And isn't it wonderful that this collective shift is happening where people want to dedicate space and time for them to reconnect with themselves, with their hearts, with their depth, with their soul, and perhaps with their spiritual selves? Like, what's bad about it? This intention doesn't have to correlate with money. If those people can afford the entire room, oh my gosh, I'm jealous. Good for you. Create your dream space and enjoy it. But all of us can create that as well. It doesn't have to be a room, but we can create a nook, a hook somewhere in our house, in our space that allow us to feel calmer, to soothe, and to nourish ourselves and to come back to our essence. Like, this is my space. This is where I sit when I feel like I need a moment for myself and just to feel more serene. Like, when I sit there, I immediately feel that my shoulders drop, that I can breathe deeper. Maybe it's the fact that I'm sitting by the window. Maybe it's the fact that usually I have my legs, resting, so I'm half laying, half sitting. Maybe it's the ficus plant that I have next to me, which was about to die, but it's coming back to life, which is also making my week, side note. And now when I think about it, all my life, I always seeked and looked for those places. So I moved so many times in my life, and I always looked for the park, for the quiet corner, for our church that is usually empty and open that I can go into and meditate for a short moment, for a quiet cafe that is not always crowded. You can always go to the library, you can always go to the park, you can always go to the church. So these are my go-to. Let me know in the comments if you have your separate space in your house, and also if you have a special place in the city. Please drop me a comment. I'd love to know, where do people go to relax, chill, and be quiet? I was thinking about spaces, and then I remembered this article that I read also not too long ago, and it was about IKEA. And so basically, IKEA designed, built, and donated a small house to a town called Townie Twin Village in San Antonio, Texas. So the small home is built with sustainable materials and it's guided by the principles of trauma-informed design. And I was like, what? Trauma-informed design? What is that? Spaces have an emotional impact. They can either support our growth and healing or stand in the way of it. And it's extremely important in those temporary houses for people who experience homelessness in the past and they're moving forward, or people who were once imprisoned, or domestic violence survivors who are in temporary houses. In other words, trauma-informed design centers human beings and their unique experience. Experts say that this type of design is good for everybody because it prioritizes people. And when you think about it, yeah, if there's, dark room, poorly lit room with buzzing light where you feel cramped, it can cause stress or even re-traumatize somebody. But when you are in an environment where there's natural light, you can see a little bit of nature out of the window, or the room is not too crowded and you can change and adjust based on your needs, like it immediately feels better. So trauma-informed design follows 5 principles. I did a little bit of research, and online the information varies, but I discovered this website and this table. I'm gonna leave the link down below. Principle number 1 prioritizes collaboration and community. So the space must be flexible and adaptable. It has to offer a variety of spaces, provide lightweight furniture, etc. The second principle is choice and empowerment. The third, and in my opinion, the most important one, is safety and trust. Last but definitely not least, beauty and joy. So that's using beautiful art, healthy color palette, considering someone's culture and background. I could continue, but I'm sure you can do your own research and read everything online, and of course look up some YouTube videos. Going back to IKEA briefly, they're not stopping here. They want to continue this and they want to invest more money in these pilot kind of projects in different states, in Memphis, Tennessee and Washington, D.C. And they want to make sure that more people receive the support and live in dignity. They also developed their own design course to make sure that their co-workers can learn and apply these skills in their local projects. So the question is, why is this good news for you learning about these stories? Well, these stories show that there's this broader rippling effect that is happening, and people are seeing differently our experience here on this planet Earth. Right now, not only the view, but approach is changing. It's becoming a lot more compassionate, kind, inclusive, creative. Now, it's not just nonprofit organizations or government organizations who are asking these questions and tackling these issues. Now, businesses are involved, salespeople, designers, architects, their families, their friends, their circles. So this kindness and goodness keeps spreading. The world may seem like a terrible place right now because of loud headlines and because of our internal and innate negativity bias, but the fact remains that things are getting better. I want to leave you with a story from Minnesota that shows and proves that our coexistence with animals is changing and becoming kinder as well. In 2023, Minnesota Zoo opened a Treetop Trail that allows people to walk above the animals and have completely different experience of zoo and wildlife. It actually transformed an old monorail that was always there and that allows people to watch animals from above. The idea came to the director of the zoo, John Frawley, who was once on a trip in New York. This old railway transformed into a trail for people to walk over Manhattan, and he thought to himself, why can't we do this in our zoo? So they did. It was a long time in the making, but after they opened the zoo and this new experience, it was a complete hit. John Frawley says that the zoo is an environmental organization. They're all about saving animals, wildlife, about repurposing and reusing, so changing this monorail into Treetop just made sense. And it allows people to connect with animals, with nature differently. They're literally walking on the treetops. So they're having a different kind of view, and the experience is a lot nicer for the animals because their environment is designed or I should say no longer designed in a way to draw them to the fences or to the glass windows so people could observe them. Now everything feels a lot more natural, immersive, and most importantly also for people, accessible for all kinds of people with all kind of abilities. What a beautiful initiative and what a beautiful way to experience nature and wildlife. I am loving the story. I cannot wait to go to Minnesota and see it myself. All right, my friend, these certainly weren't all the things that made my week, but those were at the top of my list that I really wanted to share together with you. And those stories and these examples truly inspired me, uplifted my spirits, and also reminded me of my responsibility that I have to be more intentional about my environment. I really hope that this is what this video did for you as well. It reminded you of your power, that you can create and co-create your physical spaces as well, and that it showed and proved that good people doing good things are everywhere. This world is awesome. Enjoy it. Go ahead, make your own week, make someone's week. Why? Because you can. That's why, and that's good enough of a reason. Enjoy your week, and I will see you next Wednesday or Thursday, whenever I post. I'll see you then. Bye.